Sarita Prasad. I'm an MD, and I have been in practice for about 25 years now. Started as conventional medicine doctor, and I took upon the journey of exploring functional medicine pretty early in my career. I am based in Peachtree City, Georgia. I did realize very quickly that trying to implement all these functional medicine knowledge being in conventional medicine practices would not work, and didn't work. And so I kind of continued my journey on conventional medicine as to support me, but then I opened my practice as an online practice. I think in beginning, the the mindset was very typical of me being a doctor in the system for so long that the marketing part was just very daunting. And that is always, you see all these flashy ads and people, doing all these things, Facebook and, doing Instagram. And that I always felt that I lacked all those skills. Also, not only that, it just wasn't me. I didn't want it to be that flaunting person who's like saying, hey, look at me, I do this and I do that. Or that's just the whole marketing, how I looked at marketing and how it was presented to me. It didn't go with my value system, if you will. And it was very frustrating. I was getting good results, whoever was signing up, and my prices, I kept it very low because I think one of the biggest fear I had when I started, I didn't want to lose my knowledge, and I wanted to keep practicing.
Who were you most frustrated with before like working with us?
People not calling they will kind of schedule a discovery call, and I'm calling them, they're not picking up. Like, I'm getting frustrated, I'm getting desperate. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is one client who has signed up, now I gotta get them in somehow, and I'm ready to like reduce my price. I give them discounts. I was doing all the things I shouldn't be doing. And I think I was very frustrated with myself. And I think I got in touch with you doing some containers. And I did in the beginning, I think first year, there were a lot of things going on, with my daughter college application, but I continued doing some of the container programs. And I knew that this was like just kind of talking to you and doing some of the container programs. I knew this is the kind of marketing I'm looking at. It was, I must say, it really resonated with how I treat my patient. Marketing for my business was not just this advertising. It was also understanding for me what worth I had in the market, like what my services was worth for.
And what you're referring to with the container programs is like short burst.
Right. I did quite a few actually, 3 or 4. And looking back, I would have, if I understood this mindset, if I changed my mindset, I think I would save myself a lot of misery. Because, when you are just so desperate to help somebody, and people maybe it doesn't come across that you really want to help, or it comes across, no, I should say it comes across desperateness. That was the most frustrating part. And the frustration with, I couldn't keep up with, I tried some Facebook beginning when I was, Facebook ads. It didn't fetch me anything. It was a lot of people were like, okay, well, join the groups and, you can give some advice on them and then they will kind of see you as, but, when I went on Facebook and there's some question, I'm still part of those groups, like local groups. There are non-medical people who are giving advice, and people are listening to the advice. And, if there are 60 answers already, who is going to really look at your advice? So it was very daunting. Like, you have to like constantly look at your Facebook. anytime I went to any of the marketing company, I remember I was looking to do some work with ketamine, and I did consulted a company which was into SEO and marketing. They were like, cost was humongous, like I think $5,000 a month for, and and of course they have no guarantee of results, right? Nobody can give you guarantee. So I explored a few things which didn't, I think there was no alignment for how I wanted my practice to be perceived. Um, so yeah, I think that's those were my frustration. I'm sure there was more frustration. Now I've forgotten other frustration I had because it's just best to forget all that. And
And what would you say? So and then after you had done some short burst container programs with us, you ended up deciding to be a part of our six-figure Speaking Makeover Mentorship. And what made you decide to pull the trigger to be a part of that?
for me, it was I just wanted more to just kind of nourish myself as a business owner, knowing all like knowing this marketing as a domain, which of course it aligned with how I can see that I could do it. So how you get a glimpse of the program through the event that you had offered. So that's the one I had joined, and that I think that was a big event um which kind of shifted my mind that okay, I don't need to wait for and do more and more these small burst containers program. I could just take the whole thing and whole journey. So that's how I did that and decided I kind of said, okay, it's time. I can't just keep myself giving all kind of excuses you give. I don't have time and yada yada. So finally I had to, and it was time,
Yeah, and
I
then you
knew,
joined the Introverted Visionaries Mastermind, right?
right. I really believe that things are meant to be, and you are brought the opportunity when you're ready, and that's how I look at it, because that saves me a lot of misery of like, why didn't I do this before? So yeah.
Yeah, and what changed for you that you're excited about throughout this mastermind journey?
So yeah, I think I was very confident that because you could bat off a lot of the ideas, and um, having that assurance that you have thought through this with someone else who is an expert in this domain of marketing. They already talked to so many other practitioners like me. I think that just is very reassuring that what you're doing, and of course you have told me that's not a good idea. Um, you have just a very beautiful way of presenting it. So that has helped me to really, like, I increased my pricing. I was confident that yes, this is before that. If you would ask me, if somebody, I was for my 5 months, I think 6 month program, I was charging, gosh, like I think 2,100. That even was, I was like ready to give them 50% discount after joining the program, discussing, and knowing my strength, that what I really brought to the table. Um, Anything from how you talk to the client, what you can bring up to them so that they will be ready to sign with you, and not kind of like they just look at it as like one more call they have done with several doctors they have tried to talk to. How to really um, how to holistically tell them what you do. um, I learned that. I understood what I was not emphasizing on. Is very, being a physician in the system, you are very used to just patient coming, you do your treatment, you do your thing, they get better, they say, thank you, doctor, and they move away. But when you are a business owner and when you don't take insurance, there's a dynamics of payment changes. Now patient is looking to really like worth the money they're going to spend, and how do you bring your worth to them even though they haven't seen you yet, and how without coming across very boastful, like, that's my problem. I can't be very boastful. And I just think that that's just a lot of people can do it, and very gracefully they can do that. because since I don't like that about myself, being boastful, it is hard for me to do it still. So, finding that my style, that what will I will agree to and still get the message to the patient. You don't have to be like this flashy person who they're trying to do some TikTok videos and Instagram videos. I hated that. I still hate it. So yeah, I think that um
And what got you like because you tell everyone briefly about your experience in practicing as a physician, like you'd practice in different settings. So just give us a quick overview of the different settings you've practiced in.
So yeah, I practiced in all kinds of setting because when you are your innate nature is to seek. You just keep seeking that satisfaction, and you're like, okay, maybe this setting. So I started when I graduated. I didn't want it to work in the hospital at all. I wanted to go work outpatient, see people who were well and they wanted to get more better. That didn't last. That was very naive thinking. That didn't last. That lasted pretty long. But I wasn't seeing any, like, my patients, chronically sick patients, they weren't getting results. Like, I just you came for sleep issue. I just had four things to do for you, and that's all. If you came for acid reflux, I remember when I look back, with all my patients who I felt at the time that I failed them because I didn't have anything else to offer. If I would have come out with my functional medicine knowledge, I would have done so much better, and I would have probably stick to primary care then, if I could have done that. So that was one thing, and then I was like, okay, this is not working. I need to find something. While I was doing my kind of exploring my career, I said, okay, I just want to do urgent care and see how it goes for me. That did not. That definitely wasn't a very good move for me. And then I settled in
What didn't you
working
like
in.
about it?
I think, just knowing that how my intervention would just, rack your life up. I couldn't settle with that, because now by then I'm doing, knowledge. I have some knowledge of, okay, what your heart body needs to be getting restored by. Another course of antibiotic for your cold is, not only useless, it's detrimental. I knew as a doctor that it was useless. Like, giving you one more antibiotic for cold was not only, it was, okay, you have resistance and all that I knew, but how it will really create autoimmune condition eventually for you, I didn't know that. Right.
What got you so into functional medicine?
I grew up where we use food as medicine, and we did a lot of herbal remedies. I grew up in India. A lot of, like, households still do a lot of the Ayurvedic practices, food wise and all that. So I had that knowledge, and it's always was with me. But I think going through medical school and going through residency, it just kind of like you keep getting one layer of people disapproving of that, if you will. Like, I remember when I was in residency and I would tell, like, something about Ayurvedic, some nutraceutical or like the herb. I remember my program director will say, "Oh, there's no data," and I used to tell him that we haven't looked into this doesn't mean there's no data, because those things do work. I know that they work. I'm talking about times when, there was no essential oil market at the back then. I knew my mom would do some seeds she will burn and your cold will get better. I have experienced that. And life happens. You have a passion, and then you kind of kill your passion for your earnings, and you have to, like, act certain way because now you have an MD behind your name. And not every one of us is courageous all the time in our life to just say, you know what, I'm not doing this. You have to go through your own journey to say, okay, I am not doing this anymore. You kind of say, okay, maybe I change a little bit more, and then I can maybe fit in better. So I tried that for a long time, and I finally was like, no, I don't need to fit in here.
Let everybody know what you offer in your practice. Like, what do you focus on helping people with? And yeah.
So my main focus is autoimmune.
How do you have structure what you offer, and what do you charge?
So my program, how I find myself doing justice to doing work with the patient is I do not do consult to consult, because I just feel that is not a very holistic way to approach a patient. Uh, I have them sign up for programs because I really, in functional medicine, you can't, when you know that there are 4 or 5 things wrong with the patient at the same time, you can't just give one piece to them. And you cannot give 4 pieces in just one visit. It won't justify the cost, and the time analysis will not match. So I usually, what I have for them is, you either sign up with me for 6 months based on, I give them free discovery call, which I am really wanting to change it to do more paid discovery calls. I think I learned a lot of things from the program, where, like, how do you set up the discovery call, what questions you ask. So that, I think, helping the questionnaire, that has helped me. Even, through the program, you get, how do you handle, like, in 30 minutes, how you can wrap up.
And so you offer these like 6-month packages, and how much do you charge for them?
So for 6-month packages now, my charges, I do 5,500 if you pay upfront. So yeah, 5,500 for people who want to pay upfront. It comes out to about 6,200 if they all want to do a monthly payment program. I had kept my 1-year program for about 7,500, which, I went up to very close to 10,000 now.
But how would you say this experience has been different from other business trainings that you've had in the past?
I think the biggest thing it was for me is that I could be myself. That was the biggest thing. I could still be, I didn't have to change my core values. That was because otherwise you go to marketing, they tell you, oh, you have to do this. No, you have to do this, and you have to do this way. I think this program teaches you how to bridge that gap. You could be, you could be yourself. It didn't feel like that you're selling. I hate selling. When I'm talking to my patients about the program, I felt like I was selling before. When you talk to these marketing firms and then when somebody tries to sell you something, how you just get the feeling that, okay, now don't use marketing gimmick on me. I didn't want it to be that, because they usually tell you all these marketing gimmicks to use. So I didn't want it to do that. And I think, the program really helped me. And I didn't have to be like a pushy salesperson to attract more patients.
If you knew then what you know now, what advice would you give?
I think if you're looking to really learn the marketing, and this is a lifetime investment. It's not like, okay, if I'm part of this program where it works only when I'm with you, right? So if you are ready to really revamp your mindset around marketing, how to do it, I think you should not wait to join. I think you should join right away.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today. And I am, I'm excited about the journey that you've been on, and how you're gaining more confidence working with patients, and also like attracting them too. And so it's exciting. And for those of you who are listening and would love to be growing your practice with more ease and flow, go ahead and reach out to introvertedvisionary.com, book a free call with us, and more than happy to see how we can help you with growing your practice faster. So with that, till next time, thank you for joining us.